The massive space station hung in orbit like a jewel against the stars. Inside the Grand Council chamber, representatives from dozens of alien species gathered. This was the Galactic Council, the most powerful organization in known space. They had ruled for thousands of years, maintaining peace and order across hundreds of worlds. Captain Minho stood at the podium, his uniform crisp and perfect. He represented Earth, a small blue planet that had only recently developed faster than light travel. Behind him stood Lieutenant Hana, her tablet displaying charts and data about humanity's achievements. They had come to ask for one simple thing: a seat at the council table. High Chancellor Thevron looked down at the humans from his elevated platform. He was a Calthene, tall and gray-skinned with 4 arms. His expression showed clear disgust. The other council members whispered among themselves, their various alien languages creating a strange symphony of sounds. "Your request is denied," Thevron announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. "Earth is classified as a primitive aggressive species. You have had space travel for less than 50 years. You still fight wars among yourselves. You are not ready to join civilized society." Minho felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. "We have stopped all major conflicts on Earth. We have unified under one government. We have colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. We deserve recognition." A reptilian council member named General Voss stood up. He commanded the Drexian military forces, the largest army in the galaxy. "You have expanded too quickly. You treat space like a territory to conquer. This is the behavior of a dangerous species. We have seen this before, and we will not allow it again." Hannah stepped forward. "We only want to trade and learn from other species. We mean no harm." But the council had already made their decision. Thevron raised one of his hands. "We are placing a quarantine around your solar system. No human ships will be permitted beyond the orbit of your planet Pluto. Any vessel that crosses this boundary will be destroyed. You have 72 hours to recall all ships and dismantle your military bases on the outer planets." The chamber erupted in discussion. Some council members nodded in agreement. A few looked uncomfortable with the harsh decision, but no one spoke against it. Minho clenched his fists. "This is unjust. We have done nothing wrong. Your existence is a potential threat," Voss said coldly. "The Council protects all member species from such threats. This discussion is over." Guards escorted Minho and Hana from the chamber. As they walked through the corridors back to their ship, Hana whispered, "Captain, I counted over 400 warships assembling near the quarantine border. They are preparing for war." Minho nodded grimly. "Send an encrypted message to Earth. Tell them everything." Back on Earth, in the underground command center beneath Seoul, Admiral Jinwoo received the message. He was a gray-haired veteran who had fought in the last Earth Wars before unification. His face was weathered and hard, marked by decades of military service. Around him, dozens of officers monitored screens showing ship positions, communications, and tactical data. "They rejected us," Jinwoo said quietly to the room. "And they are bringing a fleet." Tactical Officer Yuna looked up from her console. She was young but brilliant, one of the best strategic minds in the Defense Force. "Sir, I have analyzed the alien fleet composition. They have ships from 7 different species. Energy weapons, plasma cannons, particle shields. Their technology is more advanced than ours in some areas. But not all areas," Jinwoo replied. A door opened and Dr. Hyan entered the command center. He was a scientist, not a soldier, but he walked with purpose. He carried a datapad marked with the highest security clearance. "Admiral, I need to speak with you." In private. They moved to a secure conference room. Dr. Hyan activated a holographic display. "The Aurora project is ready. We have been preparing for this possibility since the day we made first contact with aliens. Jinwoo studied the hologram. It showed designs for weapons and ships unlike anything the public knew existed. How long have you been working on this? 2 years, Hyan said. We knew the galaxy might not welcome us peacefully. Some of us remembered history. When different human cultures met on Earth, it often ended in conflict. We assumed the same might be true in space. The president approved this? President Taiyang himself authorized the project. He understood that hope for peace must be balanced with preparation for war. Jinwoo looked at the designs more carefully. Ships with strange drives that could move faster than normal. Weapons that use old technology in new ways. Communication systems that could not be jammed. If we use these, there's no going back. The galaxy will see us as the aggressors. They already see us as primitives to be contained, Hyan said. The question is whether we accept their cage or break free. A message alert interrupted them. It was from Voss himself, transmitted on all frequencies. People of Earth, you have 72 hours to comply with Council orders. Dismantle your colonies. Bring all ships inside your moon's orbit. If you refuse, we will use force. Choose wisely. Jinwoo returned to the command center. Every officer looked at him, waiting for orders. He thought about his daughter, Lieutenant Soman, who was stationed on Phobos near Mars. He thought about the millions of humans living in space, building a future among the stars. He thought about humanity's long history of fighting for freedom. Send a message to all Defense Force personnel, Jinwoo said. Activate the Aurora protocols. Begin Phase 1 preparations. And tell President Taiyang that I recommend we do not comply with the Council's demands. Yuna's hands moved across her console. Sir, if we fight, we will be facing the entire Galactic Council. No one has ever defeated them. Jinwoo smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Then we will be the first. They think they know what humanity is. They are about to learn they were very wrong. The countdown had begun. In 72 hours, the galaxy would change forever. The 72 hours passed like a countdown to doomsday. Earth did not comply. Every colony remained active. Every military base stayed operational. Every ship stayed exactly where it was. General Voss sat in his command chair aboard the flagship Eternal Dominion. Around him, holographic displays showed the massive fleet he commanded. 400 warships from 7 different species, all following his orders. He had never lost a battle in his 40 years of service. Today would be no different. They did not respond to our ultimatum, his tactical officer reported. All human installations are still active. Voss felt no anger, only cold certainty. Then we will teach them the price of defiance. All ships, attack formation. Begin with their Mars colonies. Destroy all military targets. Avoid civilian casualties where possible, but complete destruction of their war-making capability is the priority. The fleet moved forward, crossing the quarantine line. Energy weapons charged. Missile bays opened. The largest military force assembled in a century, prepared to crush a single species. Captain Minho watched from the bridge of his ship. Horizon's Edge. He had tried to return to Earth, but the Council fleet blocked all routes home. Now he could only watch as the attack began. Captain, they are firing, Lieutenant Hana said, her voice tight with horror. On the view screen, orange and blue energy beams lanced through space. The Mars colonies lit up like small suns as shields failed and structures exploded. The Phobos research station, home to 3,000 people, vanished in a flash of light. Europa Outpost went dark as power failed. Titan Base sent a final distress call before communications cut off. 15,000 human lives ended in the first hour. We have to do something, Hana said desperately. But Minho knew they had no weapons that could challenge a Council warship. Send everything we recorded back to Earth. They need to know exactly what happened here. Then prepare to evacuate the ship. Before they could act, Drexian fighters appeared on their sensors. Horizon's Edge tried to run, but the small exploration vessel was no match for military craft. Weapons fire tore through the hull. Minho had just enough time to push Hana toward an escape pod before an explosion threw him across the bridge. Hana's pod ejected into space. She watched through the small window as her ship, and everyone still aboard, died in fire. She floated alone in the darkness, waiting to run out of air. Hours later, a cargo ship found her. The captain was an alien trader named Corvex, a species that looked like walking furred bears. He pulled her pod inside his ship. "Why did you save me?" Hana asked, still shaking from shock. "Because the Council is wrong," Corvex said in broken but understandable human language. "Not all of us agree with this war. Some of us remember when the Council did this to other species. It never ends well for anyone." On Earth's moon, Admiral Jinwoo stood in the command center watching the destruction unfold. Every screen showed death. His hands gripped the edge of the console so hard his knuckles turned white. An officer approached him carefully. "Sir, Phobos Station is gone. Your daughter was stationed there." "I am sorry." Jinwoo closed his eyes for just a moment. Soman had been 26 years old. She had been a scientist, not a soldier. She studied Mars geology and dreamed of helping terraform the Red Planet. Now she was gone, along with thousands of others who had only wanted to explore and learn. When he opened his eyes again, they were different. Harder. Colder. "Contact Dr. Hyan," Jinwoo said. "Tell him he has full authorization for Aurora Project. All restrictions removed. All safety protocols waived. We are going to war." Deep beneath the Nevada desert, Dr. Hyan received the message. Around him, hundreds of scientists and engineers worked in the massive underground facility. They had been waiting for this moment, hoping it would never come. "Begin activation sequence," Hyan ordered. "Myre, how long until the fleet is ready?" Lead engineer Myre checked her displays. She was young but had proven herself brilliant in weapons design. "The ships have been built and waiting. We can launch in 48 hours. The Cascade drives are charged. Weapons systems are operational." "What about the autonomous platforms?" "Already in position? They have been disguised as mining equipment for months. The Council never suspected. We can activate them on your command." Hyan nodded. "Good. Prepare everything. The Admiral will want to move fast." On the surface, President Taiyang addressed the world from a secure bunker in Seoul. His face appeared on every screen, every device, every working communication system across Earth and her surviving colonies. "My fellow humans," he began. His voice was steady despite the grief in his eyes. "Today, the Galactic Council attacked us without mercy. They destroyed our colonies. They killed our people. They believe we will surrender. They believe we are weak." He paused, letting his words sink in. "They are wrong. Humanity has faced extinction before. We have survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters. We have climbed from caves to the stars. We will not surrender. We will not beg for mercy. Instead, we will show them what it means to attack Earth." Across the planet, people watched. Some cried for lost loved ones. Some felt fear. But most felt something else, a cold, determined anger. "The Council wanted war," Taiyang continued. "We will give them war, but not the kind they expect. They think they know what humanity is. They think we are primitive and easy to defeat. Let them think that. Let them believe their own lies. Because when we strike back, they will learn the truth. Earth does not start wars. But when forced to fight, Earth finishes them. The broadcast ended. Across human space, those who survived the attack prepared for what came next. Soldiers checked weapons. Engineers worked on ship repairs. Scientists made final calculations. Everyone knew what was coming. The Council had made their attack. They had shown their strength. They had killed thousands and expected surrender. But Earth's response was not surrender. It was silence. Complete, absolute silence. No pleas for peace. No negotiations. No communication at all. In his flagship, General Voss found this silence disturbing. He had expected fear, anger, desperate messages begging for mercy. Instead, there was nothing. Human communication channels went dark. The remaining ships pulled back to defensive positions, but did not engage. It was as if Earth was holding its breath. What are they doing? Voss asked his officers, but no one had an answer. High Chancellor Thevron called for Earth's surrender on all frequencies. The only response was static. What the Council did not know, what they could not see, was that beneath that silence, humanity was preparing. And when Earth finally broke that silence, it would not be with words. It would be with fire and fury, such as the galaxy had never seen. The galaxy believed Earth was beaten. News spread across 1,000 worlds that the aggressive human species had been put in their place. The Council fleet established blockade positions around the solar system, settling in for what they thought would be a quick surrender. General Voss filed his report to High Chancellor Thevron with confidence. Human resistance has ceased. Their remaining forces have retreated to defensive positions around their home world. I estimate they will surrender within 1 standard week. Their casualties were significant, and their morale must be broken. Thevron read the report with satisfaction. Maintain the blockade? When they surrender, we will discuss terms. They will be allowed to keep their home world, but all space travel will be restricted for at least 50 cycles. They must learn their place. But inside Earth's solar system, something very different was happening. Admiral Jinwoo stood in the Lunar Command Center, surrounded by holographic displays that showed things the Council could not see. Hidden shipyards on the far side of the moon were active. Secret bases in asteroid belts were coming online. And deep beneath Earth's surface, the Aurora project was reaching completion. Dr. Hyan appeared on the main screen, transmitting from his Nevada facility. Admiral, we are ready to brief you on our full capabilities. Proceed, Jinwoo ordered. The holographic display changed, showing ship designs unlike anything the Council flew. Hyan began his explanation. When we first encountered the Council races, we studied their technology carefully. Their ships use energy shields, plasma weapons, and quantum drives. Very advanced in many ways. But they have forgotten older technologies. Lead engineer Myray took over the presentation. She was tired, having worked for days without sleep, but her eyes were bright with determination. The Council abandoned kinetic weapons thousands of years ago. They considered them primitive, but we have perfected them. Our railguns can fire tungsten rounds at 40% light speed. Their energy shields are designed to deflect plasma and energy beams. They will do almost nothing against solid projectiles moving that fast. She brought up another display. We also developed nuclear-pumped lasers. The Council banned nuclear weapons in space warfare centuries ago. They will not expect us to use them. Additionally, we have quantum-entangled communication networks. The Council uses traditional faster-than-light signals, which can be jammed or intercepted. Our system cannot be blocked or decoded. Hyan continued, but our greatest advantage is the cascade drive. Council ships use quantum tunneling for faster-than-light travel. It is safe, reliable, and slow to engage. Our drive creates a temporary cascade in space-time. It is more dangerous and uses enormous energy, but it allows near-instantaneous jumps. We can appear inside their formations before they know we are coming. Jinwoo studied the data carefully. What about actual combat experience? The Council has been fighting wars for thousands of years. That is their weakness, Murray said. I analyzed every Council conflict in their historical database. Their last major war ended 800 years ago. Since then, they have only fought small police actions against primitive species. They have no experience with peer-level combat. No experience with an enemy that can truly hurt them. A communication alert interrupted the briefing. Lieutenant Hana was calling from somewhere in Council space. The connection was encrypted and routed through multiple relays. Admiral Jinwoo, this is Lieutenant Hana reporting. Hana, you are alive, Jinwoo said with relief. What is your situation? I am aboard a cargo ship owned by a trader named Corvex. He opposes the war and is helping me. Sir, I have something important. I managed to access Council military networks. I have their fleet positions, command codes, and tactical protocols. Transmitting now. Data flooded into the Luna Command Center. Yuna, the tactical officer, began analyzing it immediately. This is incredible. Their security is weak because they never expected anyone to challenge them. I can see their entire command structure. Hana continued, Admiral, there is more you should know. I spoke with a Calthene officer who regrets the attack. He told me the Council species have not fought a real war in centuries. Their military tactics are old and rigid. They follow predetermined battle plans that worked against primitive enemies. But they have never adapted to fight a true peer opponent. Can you get more intelligence? Jinwoo asked. I will try, sir. But be careful. Some Council members are starting to ask questions. They expected Earth to surrender by now. Our silence is making them nervous. The transmission ended. Jinwoo turned to his staff. We have 48 hours before our fleet is ready to launch. We use that time to finalize our attack plan. Yuna, I want a complete tactical analysis. Find their weaknesses. Over the next 2 days, Earth prepared for war like a patient predator. President Taiyang met with the Joint Chiefs in the Seoul bunker. Fleet Commander Doyan presented the battle plan they had named Operation Retribution. We will strike simultaneously across 12 sectors, Doyan explained, highlighting positions on a star map. The first fleet under Admiral Jinwoo will attack their main blockade force. The second fleet under my command will hit their home base at Vexus Prime. Smaller task forces will engage their supply lines and communication hubs. What are our chances? Taiyang asked. Unknown, Mr. President. We have better weapons and the element of surprise. But they have more ships and more experience. This will be the greatest gamble in human history. Taiyang looked at each person in the room. And if we lose? Then humanity ends, Jinwoo said bluntly. The Council will not give us another chance. This is everything. We win or we die. Then we had better win, Taiyang said. You have my authorization. Launch when ready. Across human space, hidden shipyards opened. The ships that emerged were nothing like the sleek exploration vessels humanity had shown the galaxy before. These were war machines, angular and brutal, covered in armor and bristling with weapons. They carried names like Unbroken Will, Defiant, Remember Phobos, and Earth Fury. Myray watched from the lunar shipyard as the fleet assembled. Hundreds of ships, built in secret over 2 years, now gathering for humanity's counterstrike. She thought about all the people who had died in the Council's attack, all the dreams that had been destroyed. They thought we were primitive, she said to herself. They thought we were weak. They are about to learn how wrong they were. In his flagship, General Voss remained confident. His scouts reported no unusual human activity. The blockade was holding. Everything was going according to plan. He did not know that human ships were preparing to jump into positions his scouts could not detect. He did not know that autonomous weapons platforms had been hiding in asteroids for months, waiting to activate. He did not know that his entire communication network was compromised. The Council had underestimated humanity in every possible way. They had judged Earth by their own standards, assuming humans would follow the same rules of warfare that the Council followed. They had assumed humanity would be reasonable, would negotiate, would eventually submit. They did not understand that humanity had learned hard lessons over thousands of years of conflict on their own world. Humans knew how to fight when survival was at stake. They knew how to use every advantage, every trick, every weapon available. And most importantly, humans understood something the Council had forgotten during their long, peaceful reign. Sometimes, the only way to achieve peace is to be willing to bring overwhelming war. The countdown reached to 0. Admiral Jinwoo gave the order that would change galactic history. All ships, execute Operation Retribution. Show them what humanity really is. The attack began with silence. One moment, General Voss was reviewing reports in his command chair. The next moment, alarms screamed across every console on his flagship. "Sir, we have multiple contacts appearing inside the blockade perimeter," his tactical officer shouted. "How did they get through our sensor net?" "Impossible," Voss said. But even as he spoke, the view screen showed the truth. Human ships materialized out of nowhere, appearing in the middle of the Council fleet like ghosts becoming solid. Their cascade drives had jumped them directly past all defenses. Admiral Jinwoo stood on the bridge of his flagship, unbroken will. Around him, his crew worked with focused intensity. "All ships weapons free. Target their command vessels first. Show no mercy." The human fleet opened fire. But these were not the energy weapons the Council expected. Railguns fired solid tungsten rods, accelerated to incredible speeds. The Council ships had their shields configured to deflect energy beams from outside threats. The shields did nothing against solid metal moving at 40% of light speed. The first Drexian cruiser died in seconds. The tungsten round punched through its shield like it was not there, tore through the hull, and exited the other side. The ship broke apart, venting atmosphere and bodies into space. "All ships, evasive action," Voss ordered. But his fleet was designed for long-range energy weapon exchanges. The ships were large and slow to maneuver. The human ships were smaller, faster, and already among them. Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated. Fleet Commander Doyen led the second fleet in a devastating assault on the Council's main base at Vexus Prime. His ships emerged from cascade jumps already firing. The station's defensive platforms had not even finished powering up their weapons before human missiles struck them. "Target the orbital docks," Doyen ordered. "Destroy their ability to repair and resupply." Nuclear-tipped missiles, banned by Council law but devastating in effect, slammed into the massive docking structures. The Council had not fought anyone who used nuclear weapons in 800 years. Their defensive systems were not designed for it. Entire sections of the station vanished in blinding flashes. Aboard a Calthene destroyer, Captain Thalos watched in horror as human ships tore through his formation. "They are too fast. Our targeting systems cannot track them properly." He was right. The human ships used thrust vectoring and reaction control systems that allowed sudden direction changes. Council ships relied on smooth, predictable flight paths. It made the humans look like they were dancing while the Council ships lumbered like ancient beasts. Tactical Officer Yuna sat in the Earth Command Center, directing the cyber warfare assault. The Council used a shared communication network that allowed all 7 species to coordinate. Hannah's stolen access codes gave Earth the keys to that network. "Inject the virus now," Yuna ordered. Across Council space, communication systems began to fail. The Drexian could not talk to the Calthene. The Calthene could not coordinate with their Vexian allies. Each species found themselves fighting alone, unable to call for help or coordinate strategy. Their command structure is fracturing, Yuna reported to Admiral Jinwoo. They are fighting as 7 separate fleets now, not one unified force. Good, Jinwoo said. Exploit that. Send task forces to isolate and destroy their ships one group at a time. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Engineer Myray activated the autonomous weapons platforms. For months, these devices had drifted among the rocks, looking like simple mining equipment. Now, they came to life. The platforms were simple but effective. Each carried a railgun and a small reactor. They had basic AI that could identify Council ships and fire. Dozens of them began targeting the Council supply convoys that moved between the blockade and their support bases. Supply ship carrying food and medical supplies for the blockade force exploded as a tungsten round hit its reactor. Another ship, loaded with replacement parts, lost its engine and began to drift. Within an hour, the Council's entire supply chain was disrupted. On the Eternal Dominion, General Voss finally understood the truth. We are not fighting primitives. We are fighting a military power that prepared specifically to counter our tactics. Retreat, all ships. Fall back to Rally Point Gamma. But retreating from human ships with cascade drives was nearly impossible. Human commanders anticipated the retreat order and positioned ships at the rally points. When Council ships arrived, expecting safety, they found more human vessels waiting for them. Captain Junho led a special operations team aboard a boarding craft. They approached Voss's flagship while it was distracted by a fighter attack. The boarding craft attached to an airlock. Junho's team cut through the door with plasma torches. "Remember Phobos," Junho said to his team. "For everyone we lost." They moved through the ship with brutal efficiency. Council species had spent centuries in peace. Junho's team had trained for exactly this kind of combat. When Voss's guards tried to stop them, they did not hesitate. The guards fell. Junho found Voss on the bridge, trying to coordinate his crumbling fleet. "General Voss, you are under arrest for war crimes against humanity." Voss reached for his sidearm, but Junho was faster. A stun weapon dropped the general to the deck. "Secure him and prepare for extraction. And someone find their communication codes. We are going to use their own network to order a full retreat." High Chancellor Thevron watched the battle reports from the Council station above. Vexus Prime. Each update was worse than the last. 37 ships destroyed. 14 more crippled and drifting. The Vexus Prime orbital facilities damaged beyond repair. And the humans have suffered minimal casualties. "How is this possible?" Thevron asked. "They had no military fleet. Where did these ships come from?" An aide brought more reports. "Sir, intelligence suggests they have been building this fleet in secret for at least 2 years. They anticipated this war before we even made contact with them." Thevron felt something he had not experienced in his long life. Fear. Contact the human commander. Offer negotiations. But before the message could be sent, Admiral Jinwoo's face appeared on every screen in the station. He had hacked their broadcast system. "High Chancellor Thevron, this message is for you and the entire Galactic Council. You attacked Earth because you thought we were weak. You destroyed our colonies and killed our people. You expected us to surrender like frightened children." Jinwoo's voice was cold and hard. "You taught us what we needed to learn about you. Your tactics, your technology, your weaknesses. Now learn what you should have known about us. Humanity does not start wars. But when you force us to fight, we finish them." The transmission cut to show the battle. Council ships burning. human vessels weaving through the wreckage like predators. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. You have 1 hour to order your fleets to stand down, Jinwoo continued. If you do not, we will reduce every Council military asset to debris. We will destroy your orbital stations. We will leave your fleets crippled and drifting. You wanted to see what humanity is capable of when threatened. Now, you know. The station shook as human ships began their assault. Missiles impacted the shields, each hit weakening them. Thevron looked at his advisors. He saw the same thing in all their faces, the knowledge that they had made a terrible mistake. Send the surrender signal, Thevron ordered. To all Council fleets. Stand down immediately. The war is over. Across 12 sectors, Council ships received the order and stopped fighting. Some commanders could not believe it. The mighty Galactic Council, which had ruled for thousands of years, was surrendering to a species that had been in space for less than a century, but the evidence was undeniable. In 6 hours, humanity had shattered the Council's military power. They had turned the tables completely. The hunters had become the hunted. Admiral Jinwoo received the surrender and gave the ceasefire order. But he did not smile. Too many people had died. Too much had been lost. This was not a victory to celebrate. Stand down all weapons, he ordered. Begin recovery operations for survivors on both sides. And contact President Taiyang. Tell him Earth's counterstrike was successful. The galaxy will never underestimate humanity again. 3 months had passed since the war ended. The massive conference hall on Titan Station hummed with quiet conversation. Representatives from dozens of species gathered, but the atmosphere was very different from the last council meeting. There was no arrogance now, no dismissive looks at the human delegation. Only careful respect and barely hidden fear. President Taiyang stood at the central podium. Behind him, the curved windows showed Saturn hanging in space, its rings catching the distant sunlight. The entire station was human-built, constructed in the weeks after the war. The message was clear. Earth was no longer asking for a seat at the table. Earth had built the table. This council convenes under new terms, Taiyang began. His voice was calm but firm. The old council rules that led to unnecessary conflict are abolished. The new Galactic Alliance will be built on equality, not domination. Every species, regardless of age or technology, has the right to representation and the right to self-defense. High Chancellor Thevron sat in the front row, no longer elevated above everyone else. He had aged visibly in 3 months. His position as High Chancellor had been stripped away by his own people. The Calthene had blamed him for the disastrous war and removed him from power. Now he was simply an observer, allowed to attend only because Earth had granted him asylum. The Drexian representative, Ambassador Kellen, stood to speak. He was younger than General Voss and much more humble. President Taiyang, the Drexian Union, formally apologizes for our role in the attack on Earth. We were wrong. We will pay reparations for the damage we caused and the lives we took. One by one, each of the 7 species that had attacked Earth made similar statements. Some sounded sincere. Others clearly said the words because they had no choice. But all of them understood the new reality. Earth was now the most powerful military force in known space. In the observation gallery, Admiral Jinwoo watched the proceedings. He wore a new uniform with a rank that had not existed 3 months ago. Supreme Commander of Human Space Forces. Beside him stood Captain Junho, promoted to general and given command of the new peacekeeping corps. The council had actually requested human military advisors. It was a stunning reversal. Do you think they really understand? Junho asked quietly. Some do, Jinwoo replied. The smart ones realize we could have destroyed them completely, but chose mercy instead. The others just fear our weapons. Either way, They will not attack us again. In another section of the station, Dr. Hyan and Engineer Myray presented their findings to the Council's Scientific Assembly. The room was packed with alien researchers, all eager to learn about human technology. Myray displayed a hologram of the Cascade Drive. The basic principle involves creating a controlled collapse in space-time that allows near-instantaneous travel. The energy requirements are enormous, but the speed advantage is undeniable. An elderly Vexian scientist raised a tentacle. This technology should not be possible, according to our understanding of physics. How did you develop it? Hyan smiled slightly. You assumed certain things were impossible, so you never tried to achieve them. Humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. When we needed a way to compete with your superior numbers, we found it. The Vexian looked thoughtful. We spent thousands of years perfecting quantum tunneling. We assumed it was the best possible solution. You showed us we were wrong to stop innovating. That is the difference between us, Myray said. You reached a comfortable level of technology and stopped pushing forward. Humans never stop trying to improve. It is part of our nature. Sometimes it causes problems, but it also drives us to achieve things others think are impossible. The presentation continued, with Hyan explaining other human innovations. Some aliens looked excited to learn. Others looked worried about what else humanity might develop in the future. Across the station, Lieutenant Hana walked through a diplomatic reception with a Calthine official named Sorvik. He was the same officer who had helped her during the war, risking his career to oppose the conflict. Now he served as the Calthine ambassador to Earth. My people have much to learn from yours, Sorvik said. We became comfortable in our superiority. We forgot that the universe always has surprises. Some of your people still hate us, Hana observed. She had read the reports of anti-human sentiment on several council worlds. Fear and hatred often go together, Sorvik admitted. But fear can also lead to respect and eventually to understanding. Give it time. The Calthine who attacked you will be replaced by a generation that grew up knowing Earth as a partner, not an enemy. Fleet Commander Doyen stood in the Military Operations Center, reviewing the integrated defense network. Council ships now flew alongside human vessels in joint patrols. It was awkward at first, but cooperation was improving. On his tactical display, dozens of captured Council ships sat in orbit around Earth. Some would be scrapped for materials. Others would be studied and adapted. A few would be returned to their species as a gesture of goodwill. Commander, we have a request from the Drexian fleet, an officer reported. They want to observe our tactical training exercises. Dion considered this. Approved, but only for basic maneuvers. Advanced tactics remain classified. The galaxy was learning that Earth would share some knowledge, but kept its most dangerous secrets protected. Trust had to be earned, not demanded. In a private meeting room, President Tai Yang sat across from former High Chancellor Theveron. The old alien looked tired and defeated. Why did you grant me asylum? Theveron asked. I ordered the attack that killed thousands of your people. Because you were following what you believed was right based on limited information, Tai Yang replied. And because showing mercy to defeated enemies is part of who we want to be. We could have executed you. We could have imprisoned you. Instead, we offer you a chance to help build something better than what came before. Theveron was quiet for a long moment. We thought you were animals who had found starships. We did not understand that you were a species that had already conquered the hardest challenge, unifying your own world despite massive diversity. That achievement required more wisdom than we credited you with. You made assumptions based on our short time in space, Tai Yang said. But humans have been solving complex social and political problems for thousands of years. Just because we were new to the galaxy did not mean we were new to civilization. I understand that now, Theveron said. I only wish I had understood it 3 months ago. Later, Tactical Officer Yuna finished her final report on the war. She sat in her office on Titan Station, reviewing the data one last time before submitting it. The report detailed every aspect of the conflict, from the initial attack to the final surrender. Her conclusion was simple but profound. The Galactic Council believed in their own superiority for so long that they forgot the most important rule of the universe. Never assume you are the apex predator until you have met everyone else. Earth introduced itself to the galaxy, and the galaxy will never forget the lesson. She sent the report and looked out the window at Saturn. Humanity had come so far so quickly, from cave dwellers to spacefaring civilization in just a few thousand years. And now they had proven themselves against the oldest powers in known space. But Yuna knew this was not the end of challenges. The galaxy was vast. There were species the Council had never met, threats they had never faced. Earth would need to stay vigilant, stay innovative, and stay ready. Admiral Jinwoo thought the same thing as he watched the treaty signing ceremony. President Taiyang and the Council representatives each signed a document that established the new Galactic Alliance. Humans would have equal representation. Earth's territory would be respected. And humanity would help defend the Alliance against external threats. It was everything they had asked for 3 months ago, won through blood and sacrifice instead of peaceful negotiation. Jinwoo touched the memorial ribbon on his uniform. It carried the names of everyone who had died in the war, including his daughter Selman. She would never see this moment, but her sacrifice had helped make it possible. Captain Jonho stood beside him. "Sir, do you think the peace will last? Some species will always resent us," Jinwoo said. "Some will want revenge for their defeats. But the smart ones will realize that cooperation benefits everyone. We did not seek domination. We sought respect. Now we have it. And if someone challenges us again?" Jinwoo's expression hardened. "Then we remind them why challenging Earth is a mistake. Our ships are faster. Our weapons are more effective. Our people are more determined. We do not want war, but we will never again be unprepared for it." The ceremony concluded with a moment of silence for all who died in the war, from all species. It was President Taiyang's idea, and it surprised many aliens. Even in victory, humans remembered that war had costs for everyone. As the delegates left the hall, the galaxy began its first day under the new order. Trade routes reopened. Communication improved. Slowly, carefully, humans and aliens began to work together instead of fighting. Earth's colonies started rebuilding. Mars would rise again. New stations would replace those destroyed. And humanity would continue expanding, but now with the knowledge that they were not alone and would never again be underestimated. Engineer Mireille looked at the plans for the next generation of human ships.